Why is JASM targeting 14 nanometer to 28 nanometer process node?
In Japan, if we look at the Japanese semiconductor major companies, so some of them, or the topmost of the some of the top of the clients make the products which are coming from 28 nanometer nodes, or the sensors come from the 28 nanometer node. For example, MCUs in automotive and sensors, like as we mentioned earlier within the CIS1, the CMOS ones. So Sony uses the CMOS sensors a lot. So, and within the MCU1, Renesas uses the MCUs which are fabbed at 28 nanometer a lot. So it made sense from a economies perspective to achieve that the clients that are using the 28 nanometer products are also based in Japan, and so there is synergies also. And that's why we see Sony and Renesas amongst the top two clients of this fab also, the one that is being right now established, JASM.
Will Japan's 14 nanometers process node be replaced by 28 nanometers?
As the requirements come on in, they will definitely catch up, but that is not said that they will exit from the 19 nanometer node process altogether, because this will be done in stages as the progress goes. So you can't just switch on all your product ranges from 19 nanometer or a very, very mature node to the almost advanced of 28 nanometer node. So that change won't be done overnight, or even like in a period of 2-3 years, because there are use cases which require just the 90 nanometer cameras also, still the sensors, and it would not make sense financially, fiscally, to move to 28 nanometer node and the price changes when the customer is not ready to pay that much. So I believe as the advancement comes, so the higher end product ranges, specifically if we talk about even smartphones or the higher end cameras, or even in automotive, so we would see like the range. So there will be lower end vehicles, average and premium vehicles. So they would be using the camera modules, the CMOS, not the camera module, the CMOS sensors, which are being fabbed at different nodes depending upon the price point and the requirements of the final end product itself. But eventually, after like couple of years, yes, they will eventually totally shift from those nodes. But I don't think so. It's in the like next 2 years they will say, okay, we are totally going out from 90 nanometers, because there will be still some demand which will be satisfied by that very matured node. But again, but in the other sense, from an economic perspective and from an advancement process perspective, it 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 enhances and it innovates and it extends the capability of Sony to move on to products at a higher node, and hence also move on to different new categories where the camera where the requirements from a camera CMOS perspective is very, very high. So for a Sony, it's a twofold thing. So it opens up new avenues also to market where they have not played before technically because of the requirements. So it is that way. And the second one is they kind of start developing the R&D and the tech side so that they can eventually move on to other advanced nodes, because as the tech kind of matures, there will be use cases coming on which will require more pixelated ones at a very smaller size. I mean, as you know, right, everything is compacted and we move on to chiplet sizes, and once there are integrations happening, so they would require more smaller sizes, which would be achievable in higher nodes. And as you move to higher nodes, there are a lot more complexities come in, and then after a certain point, definitely there is a substrate change also. That's a very far fetch for Sony right now. I don't see them going into very so-called advanced like 10 nanometer and below for now. But then eventually they have to be ready at some point in the future if they have to shift it out. So I believe that this is how it will unfold.